Hello, everybody. It is Stryker. We are in a studio in West Los Angeles, California, with Matt and Dom from MUSE. Great to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you. How's it going?
It's been a while since we've sat down in an interview. It was about 2.5 years ago. The Second Law is coming out very soon. So my question, I'll go to you, Matt, first. Was the process making this record different from previous?
Yeah, there's some things that are different. Some things are the same. We wanted to produce it again ourselves, so that was similar to how we did Resistance. We started off thinking we may get a producer in, but we quickly realised that we just love doing it. You know, three of us collaborating together on the production really makes an interesting result. You know, and three-piece makes it easy democracy to get decisions done. And so yeah, apart from that, but some of the things we did differently are kind of for certain songs we had different approaches to anything we've done before. You know, we kind of created these challenges to make sure that the song would come out kind of differently to how it was rehearsed in the first place. In the case of Follow Me, it was a track that we kind of rehearsed and sort of recorded as a kind of rock track, and then decided to get rid of everything and do it all again with electronics. And then a song like Unsustainable was where we kind of built up a kind of, inside the computer, kind of built up a kind of sort of electronic style, sort of build up to kind of drop kind of bass line type thing. All electronic, and then try to play it with real instruments to see if we could simulate it. So those two songs are kind of opposites.
And did you succeed in using your instruments to make the noises you wanted to make?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, we sort of, there's songs like Madness where we tried to strip things down to be very, very minimal as possible. And there's a couple of tracks with Chris singing.
Let's talk about that before you hold on. Sorry, but Chris singing on the album, how did this come about? Did he have songs written that he came to you guys? Dom, if you could take this.
Yeah, he had some songs. I mean, you know, Chris was, he's kind of like, his head's a little clearer these days, you know?
Right.
And and he was drinking a lot for years, and, you know, since being kind of sober, he's changed and he's cleared up, his thoughts are clearer, you know, so I think, you know, creatively and emotionally, it became easier for him to kind of communicate his ideas. So he had some songs and you know, wanted to sing them, and we were like, well, cool. It was something different for the band. We'd never done it before. I think it's something he's probably wanted to do in the past, but just hasn't really been able to do it or had the opportunity to do it or something like that. So it's a very different thing. So, and it kind of felt right with him bringing the kind of the music initially to the band. It felt right for him to actually just write the lyrics and sing it as well.
I'm so excited to hear his two songs. Do you know the names offhand of the songs that he did?
Save Me and Liquid State.
Save Me and Liquid State. Yeah. Maybe it goes along with the theme that you were just talking about.
There's definitely
it should be the other way around. Liquid State, then Save Me. That's the proper narrative. Yeah.
What about the trailer that came out to promote The Second Law? Yeah. When I saw it, it was the stock market, the economy, it was oil, it was gas. There was a great shot of the San Diego freeway here in LA. You can see the Getty Museum up on the left, the Round Hotel there. And it was just craziness. And then it was dubstep. And which is fine. And I was so excited to hear it. No, the energy of that trailer got me very excited. But I know for a fact, you read the comments, what the hell is MUSE doing? I'm not going to have a whole album of dubstep. Did you see those comments? Is that what they can expect? What was your feeling on what people were saying when they saw the trailer?
We did it. You know, we did it on purpose because we knew. Well, we did it because that track takes the title of the album, and it has this, I wrote these words out for this newsreader to read that kind of talk about the second law of thermodynamics and everything, and about how energy depletion, running out, and that's what all the oil stuff's all about. But also the piece of music is written very much influenced by film music, by artists like Hans Zimmer and stuff like that. And I think that, to me, when I listened to it, it always sounded like a trailer to a film. You know, it reminded me of a film trailer, so I thought it would have been a nice way to kind of put something out on YouTube that would have been a bit different to what people would have expected. And also musically, it was good. We knew that people would react that way because people, you know, it's just instrumental. It sounds pretty far out, and in terms of influence, there's a little bit of dubstep in there, a lot of film music influence in there, and but the key is that we're doing it with real instruments. Obviously, you know, we're not cheating with a laptop. We're doing the real thing there.
And what do you think about the people that just use a laptop to make noises, Dom?
Make noises.
It depends, you know. I mean, you know, it's probably just the laptop is considered a bit more of an instrument these days, you know, rather than just something to check your emails on. Which you don't know whether these people might be doing so when they're performing live.
Right. checking their emails.
Sometimes that's what it looks like. You got your Mac open.
Yeah, all you have to do is
just check my email.
We need to get a MacBook Pro, put a couple of stickers on the back, check your emails, and get paid a bunch of money for doing rock concerts. You know what I mean? Everyone's in the mosh pit.
But that's probably just offended a few people. But no, but I mean,
well, I'm sure they like hit a filter button or something every 4 minutes.
but it's bizarre. Yeah, I suppose. I suppose we did, like, the reaction was mixed as well. I think going back to that, and it's kind of weird, but I read some of those weird reactions and people thinking like we've made some dubstep album or whatever like that. It's just obviously not the case. I mean, when you hear the album, it's so not that, but really, really diverse. But we've always had kind of very mixed reactions to everything we've done. I think as soon as we put out a new song, some people are like, "What the hell's this?" and some people love it. So. Seems to be the way people always react.
Yeah, I think when people see that live, they'll get the point more because when they see us actually doing that with our instruments, it's quite an exciting affair, I'd say.
And we can smash all their laptops. Exactly. So it's been about average maybe every 3 years we've had a new Muse album. When you're putting out your sixth one or making a sixth one, why and how do you get the inspiration? Don't you just want to sit on a beach, Dom, with some sort of drink with an umbrella in it and say, I'm doing great. We've had such great success. I don't really want to do anything. Why and how do you make a new sixth album?
Yeah, I mean, we did sit on a beach. I did sit on a few beaches,
right.
And it's nice to have a little break, especially when you've been touring, because, you can get kind of, it's great, it's fun, but I suppose when you're traveling a lot, you can get like a bit tired without realizing it. So the beach is kind of a pretty nice place to be. But we just, the whole of last year was pretty casual. We did about 10 gigs in the year and had quite a bit of time off, so we got enough time to relax. But I think, it doesn't take us long before we want to start making music again. So the cycle seems to be every 3 years. It's like 2 years of touring, a year of kind of some casual stuff, and making an album, I suppose, in that year. But, we don't feel like it's time just to take... 3 years off doing nothing at this stage,
Let's talk about the Olympics a little bit. I was watching the opening ceremony, and I got so excited when I heard Map of the Problematique. Is it Map of the Problematic or Map of the Problematique?
Problematique, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah. And I heard Muse in there, and I got so excited, and they had some great music in the opening ceremony. Mm-hmm. You guys, what was the feeling like knowing a Muse song was in there, in the opening ceremony with 1 billion people watching?
Yeah, it's great. It's nice to be a part of it. It's such an exciting time for London. London's been like building up for this for like 10 years or something, or whenever it was they first got it. I can't remember, but it seems like it's been going on for years. And it's very exciting. It's it sort of makes you feel a bit. Patriotism isn't really a big thing in England. But it's like I think this Olympics has brought it back a little bit. It's nice.
And then the song Survival, the official song of the Olympics. I was so happy to hear that song. It was new Muse. And then, oh my God, the Olympics are going to use a Muse song. So I was happy, but then I was like, okay, now my parents are going to know Muse, which is fine. They should know Muse. They should know their son's favorite band. So how did that come about, that Survival was the song that the Olympics chose?
Yeah. Well, actually, believe it or not, Elton John gave us a call and wanted to write a song for the Olympics. And at one time, Elton John was actually he was the director of the music for the Olympics. So he contacted us to do a song with him. We thought, wow, this is like far out. I mean, like we could do a song for the Olympics with Elton John. And but the next, so that was kind of how the ball started rolling, and that was way back, like in sort of, what was that, August, September, something, 2011.
A year ago, yeah.
Over a year ago. And no, is it a year ago? Where are we?
Something like
Less
that.
than a year ago. I don't know. Wasn't it? Was it late 2010? I can't remember. It seemed like a long time ago, but then he pulled out of the Olympics. He didn't want to be involved anymore because he fell out with the organisers or something, and then so that left us kind of sort of like with a sort of half-baked idea. At that point we just kind of let it go to one side and carried on making the album, and then the Olympics approached us again about the ending ceremony for us to play there, and that was when we played them that song, and they loved it and said they wanted to make it a kind of an official song of some kind. Yeah, so it's great.
So the Olympics is underway, Summer Olympics in London. You're going to play the closing ceremony. Is it just going to be one song? You're going to do 3 songs? Is it going to be a medley? What's the plan?
Well, I think we're just going to play one song. I think
play Survival, or
yeah, I think we're going to play Survival.
I think it makes sense to play that song, doesn't it? Because it's like the one that we did for the Olympics.
Yeah. It'd be strange to do something else.
I would like to hear, well, if I can put in a request for the closing ceremony, Survival, and then Knights of Sidonia, and then Map of the Problematique,
yep.
and then Starlight, and then maybe come out for something, and then we'll all be happy.
Okay. Basically just take over the whole closing ceremony. Yeah. Sounds like a good plan, yeah.
That would be good. All right, so the 6th album is coming out, and there's a couple songs I would love to talk about. I've got to hear some of the songs. Madness.
Yeah.
So one of the lines is it real love, or is it just madness? Some kind of madness is taking control. I've seen the light. That's what you need. This sounds like a very personal song.
Yeah, I wrote that song having like a fight with my girlfriend, and nothing particularly over the top, but just having one of those moments where she leaves you for the day to think about it. And I very rarely write songs that that cathartically, if you know what I mean. It's been a long time since I wrote a song that way. The band weren't with me at the time, so all I had was like a drum machine and a synthesizer. So I sort of just put this very, very minimal thing together, and started singing on it, and just came with a verse-chorus idea. And I wasn't quite sure if it would work with the band actually, but then when we started making the album, I showed it to Dom and Chris. They really loved it, and they sort of took it to another level by adding these extra parts at the end and everything, and it became a much bigger song. So it's pretty cool, really.
And that's going to be the first single.
That's going to be the first single, yeah. Real surprise song, I think, for this album. It's probably my favourite song that I've ever written, I'd say. Yeah.
And I was not expecting the first single to have that particular sound. I love the song, but the whole sound of the album, is it similar to that? Do you think there's 3 different sounds, 2 different sounds? What can fans expect from the new Muse album, Dom?
I think there's about 12 different sounds, one for each track. That's what it feels like. I mean, we said it before, it's really, really diverse. I mean, from like the first song, Supremacy, which is a big, huge, stadium-sized rock riff, kind of rock track, and then going to Madness, which is really kind of very minimal and intimate and electronic, completely different. There's stuff like, there's almost like a kind of funky track called Panic Station on there. There's some very electronic sounding stuff like Follow Me, so it's really mixed. It's really diverse. But I think it just makes for an interesting listen. Makes you want to listen to it again, and the more you hear it, the more you kind of get to know, and the more you hear, I suppose. So, and I've always loved albums like that.
Me too. And when you're making this record and you're doing it yourselves, and there's 3 people, so it's easy for a democracy. Is there one person in the band, Matt, that is louder than another person in the band who says, I don't think we should go that route on this particular song?
I'd say Chris is relatively quiet actually. I'd say I'm pretty loud. Dom's pretty loud. I'd say me and Dom tend to just not agree about anything basically. So the whole album making process is usually me and Dom arguing, and Chris usually settling the debate because no one messes with him because he's twice our size basically. Right. So it's like this always things that usually settle quite easily.
All right, the artwork is so cool. I just saw it for the first time today. When this interview is being played, it's probably like 2 weeks after we're actually talking. And I saw it quick, and it was on my phone. It would look like a brain with an eyeball with different colors. Am I on track? And why did you choose that, Matt?
Yeah, it's I saw it in a science magazine a couple of years ago. It was actually a science picture of a spectral imaging. I'm not sure if that's the right word for all the neuron connections in the brain. So it's actually, you can see all the different colours represent different parts of the body it's connected to and stuff. So you can get to see how the brain functions. And I'm a big fan of this. I'm a big fan of something called biocentrism, which is this weird thing about how that you can't. Any theory of the universe has to take in consideration the shape of the brain, because it's quite likely, because it's created from our brains, it's quite likely that the shape of the universe and the shape of our brain are linked together. And as science goes on, there's starting to look to be the case. So it's kind of a loose link to the second law, which we'll come on to in a minute.
Do you read a lot of science magazines?
Every now and again I pick up one, look at the pictures, read a couple of captions.
Have you seen Barely 18 ever?
What's that?
The magazine Barely 18?
What was that, a science magazine?
That's a biology magazine.
Yeah, biology, yeah.
Biology
that sounds like my kind of magazine.
If I have a kid who ever sells magazine subscriptions, I will buy it and I'll send it to you. Okay, the song, another song that I heard that I really liked, which I would love to talk about, if you will, is Follow Me. I will not desert you. You can trust in me. I'll protect you. Again, it sounds like a personal song. We've all grown up over the last 12, 13 years since this particular album came out. There it is, Origin of Symmetry. Mm-hmm. All of us are in a different state. That seems like a personal song again, maybe some family related, Matt?
Yeah, it's quite a personal track. That one, that was probably the only song that I wrote around the time of having the baby. I had a baby last year, and that was an amazing experience. So I wrote that song pretty much around that. The beginning of that song actually has a recording of my baby's heartbeat just before he was born.
Wow.
And I sort of built up the tempo of the track and the rhythm and sort of also the orchestration around that. So yeah, that was my becoming a dad track.
Dom, I've seen you randomly out and about in the town here in LA.
Of course.
And we are a Los Angeles station, so you've gravitated to us like we've gravitated to you and the band. Do you enjoy going out to like the historic rock spots like the Troubadour and the Whiskey and the Palladium and all these places, or what do you love about LA?
I do love LA. I've been spending quite a lot of time here. I think the last time we saw each other was at the Palladium watching Guns N' Roses.
Right. They went on
a few months ago.
40 minutes late.
Yeah, the old classic.
Yeah,
hour and a half late. But I didn't stay to the end. I think I did 30 minutes and I had to leave. Saw a few classic riffs, though. But yeah, I mean, I really like LA. I kind of moved here, been spending a lot of time here, between here and London at least, and I love I love how, you know, that sense of rock music is so apparent here in Los Angeles, particularly around, I suppose, Hollywood and that area of Sunset where you have all those classic, historic rock venues. I mean, I just love the vibe, you know. Normally when I'm driving around, I come down the end of my street, and which is by the Whiskey, and like there's always some band kind of getting kicked out on the side of the street, and there's a drum kit there and a bunch of rockers, and I kind of feel at home, you know, just really feel at home. So I like the vibe, and yeah, you know, I'm English, so I like the weather as well.
We do have good weather. The Second Law, the 6th studio album from Muse. What is the Second Law, Matt?
I got no idea. The Second Law. What do you think? Second law comes from the law of thermodynamics, which is kind of about energy, how energy functions. I became interested in energy decline and also how humans seem to be always, and ourselves, seem to be always battling against the fact that energy is depleting, in both in ourselves and our bodies and the planets and obviously in the solar system and so on. And I kind of wanted to read behind what was going on behind all this economic crisis and stuff that seemed, it was on the news all the time when we were making the album. It became like really boring. Every time you turn the news on, it was like banking crisis. So I just kind of wanted to find out a bit what was going on behind that, and I sort of came up with this thing about second law of thermodynamics, how energy's running out, and we seem to be fighting against it, battling against it.
Let's talk about live shows. Your last tour, which I saw at least 4 of the shows with the 3 towers, and then you come out Uprising, and the lyrics are up there. It's going to be hard to top that. Have you guys met or thought about what you're going to do for the live shows when you start the world tour and when you come back to the States in 2013?
Yeah, we've thought about it. We're kind of designing this thing at the moment. It's going to be... We're turning the Illuminati upside down. We have this upside down pyramid which comes out of the sky. So rather than the top down structure, which is, you know, we're going for the bottom down structure, which I think is turning it on its head. So we're doing a little bit of symbolism there. And aside from that, there'll be lots of interesting videos. And I think the arena tour is going to be a little bit stripped back compared to last time, but we'll be playing a good old mix of old tracks and new tracks. But then again, having said that, I think our strip back is probably not what it's still going to be pretty up there, I'd say. Pretty full on. Actually, what we're talking about, not strip back. The upside down pyramid. We're trying to do this thing where it actually turns inside out and actually becomes a real kind of Mayan temple, and it actually consumes Dom's drum kit. And then me and Chris are going to come out and play a track. And I'm actually doing some kung fu.
Yeah, and basically because you can't see.
Are you a ninja? Are you a real ninja?
Yeah, he is.
I was the last couple of days here in LA. I had some kung fu lessons, and then filmed a bunch of kung fu moves.
Yeah, so we're going to do a song with where basically Dom's drum kit becomes a Japanese temple, like something out of Kill Bill. You know, like I mean like the restaurant out of Kill Bill.
No, you mean serious right now?
No, I'm serious.
Okay,
yeah.
wow.
No. I mean, of course, serious as in like it's going to be fun, but it's serious fun.
This is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, so it consumes his drum kit, and then Dom comes out and starts doing karate moves and fending off like these old English bankers. Like there's all these these old
showing the footage.
These old classic bankers start. I've only got one little video here, which this is not going to translate on radio. But maybe you can hear it.
Yeah.
Hold on. Can you see that?
I can see it.
We had Uprising going for the vibe.
Oh, there he is. Oh, that was great. That was great.
And obviously green screen. Also, that's going to have a lot of effects on it and stuff. Yeah.
See that kick?
That was a great kick. Okay, last thing. Last time we sat together, we had a little bit of a match game where I say something and you fill in the blank, or I ask a question randomly. So, one of the reasons why in the very beginning you were not giant in the USA, but you were giant everywhere else, because of that metal rap rock scene, and the singers made a certain noise. What was the noise those singers made when they sang?
What?
Don't try to cheat, Dom.
What was going on?
The singers had a certain sound. You have a certain sound when you sing.
Oh, falsetto.
And what did these singers that were popular at the time sound like?
They're like growling, like Jonathan Davis from
Korn. There it is.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yes, exactly. I'm sorry. What was that one more time?
It's not.
Okay. Blank burger. Think Los Angeles food.
In and out.
In and out.
No, out and
Fat
in.
burger.
Out.
Yes.
Fat burger. Sorry.
Fat.
Okay.
Okay. Easier to drive in Los Angeles or London?
LA. No question.
Is it really?
Well,
yeah.
there's
Way
no roundabouts.
easier. Yeah.
All right. Here you go. Think Los Angeles again. Hole.
Courtney's glove.
Whole. You're on it.
Whole Foods.
Yes.
Yes. I was thinking like hole in a road.
Okay. Okay. Last thing, and then we're for sure wrapping it up. Okay. You mentioned a band last time. Emotional.
Beefcakes. Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yeah.
It's so cool.
You've made
have you finally started the band, Emotional Beefcakes?
Right. And so I don't have a singer or a drummer yet, if you guys wanted to join, but we have no gigs.
Dom's been getting a bit of beefcakey these days, so I think he'd be perfect for you.
All right. We got to wrap it up. Thank you very much. Congrats on everything.
Cool.
Nice the second law. I'm Stryker, and that has been our interview in this lovely studio. Goodbye, everybody.
Cool. Thanks a lot.